Okay, so today I'm going to be showing you how to create an aquascape. So what is an aquascape exactly? So I would say that just like an aquascape is just putting wood, plant, substrate, and like your fish into a tank, and it's supposed to look really pretty. Like this is very organized, it's very aesthetically pleasing. Yeah. It's really just like a glorified fish tank with like no plastic plants. So some popular styles are like the nature style, Dutch style, Iwagumi style, and jungle style. The nature style is supposed to like represent like forests, mountains, and valleys. Um, it's carefully placed, lush greenery, stuff like that. And then the Dutch style is a bunch of really vibrant plants put together, and there's like no hardscape in it, and so it's just like really bright and pretty. And then the Iwagumi style is like a Japanese style. It's based on putting like an odd group of rocks together, kind of separated, and then you don't have any tall plants in it. It's literally just like a low growing carpet plant around there, and it's very simple and minimalistic. And then for the jungle style, it's just wild, untamed plants everywhere, overlapping, and no hardscape. So how do you make an aquascape? An aquascape can be made in like this order. So you're gonna get your tank, then you're gonna get your substrate, then you're gonna add your hardscape and plants, and then you can finally fill it with water, and then your nitrogen cycle is gonna start, and then you can add your fish after that. Oops. Okay, so the bigger the size of the tank, the easier it is not to like mess it up. The balance will like be there a lot better than like a small tank. It's a lot easier to mess it up. Like one drop of something, oh, it's ruined. Longer tanks also look better than taller tanks, cause it's just harder to like escape with like vertical designs, cause you're like trying to reach in there and you can like barely reach cause it's so tall. So I would recommend like a longer tank, and you can really go with whatever size you want. For my tank, I use like a 20-gallon long, so that works best for me. For your filter, you want to use like a gentle flow so it doesn't like disturb your plants and stuff. If you use like a different tank style, like if you use like plastic plants, it'll probably be fine with another one, but I would do a gentle flow. And your heater is just going to be based off of like the amount of gallons in your tank. For prep, you need to clean the glass with no soap at all, and you need to check for leaks along the corners. You can do this by like filling your tank up and then letting it sit for a couple seconds. And if you don't see any cracks in there, then like you're good to go. And then when you're placing it, you want to put it out of like sunlight, because if you put it in the sunlight, it will like create algae. So don't do that. For your substrate, the best substrate to use is nutrient-rich soil. This contains nutrients that you need for your plants, and it'll help lower the pH in your tank, which is very beneficial for like your fish and shrimp. You can also use sand, but it's mostly for like aesthetically pleasing purposes, and it doesn't contain any nutrients, so you're not going to be able to put any plants in it. And then gravel is also not ideal for the plants. But it's okay if you use it like as the bottom, and then you put like the nutrient rich soil on top of it. But like you can also use gravel in like the case if it's really fine and stuff. But I think they make like nutrient rich gravel, so I'm not really sure. When adding your substrate, you want to make it low in the front and then high in the back. This will make your tank very professional looking, and it also makes your tank look a lot bigger. So that's how you do that. And also you want to wet down the substrate when you're adding your plants, because it'll just like scoop them up real good and it'll fit a lot better. And then that'll help when you're filling with water as well. For the hardscape, you do not want to center everything in there. You want to use the rule of thirds. You just like place things off center and to the side, not in the middle. And you want to angle your wood and rocks. And when you're doing this, you should really try every angle that you can. Because, like, if you do it one way and you think it looks good, yeah, it might look good. But if you do it another way, it might look even better. So try everything. And you want to bury the bases slightly to make it look like it was meant to be there. And then some types of wood is spiderwood, tigerwood, and then types of rock, slate, dragonstone, and sarrowstone. Plants, so for plants, you're gonna have a foreground, a midground, and a background. For the foreground, it's gonna be like low-lying plants such as like Monte Carlo, just like carpet plants like that. And then the midground is gonna be a little bit taller than that. You can use plants like Anubias, Java ferns, and Babytears. Those work best. But there's also like a lot of plants that you can use. It's not at the max. For the background, you're gonna want to use like really tall plants like Amazon sword, water wisteria, moneywort. This will really give like a jungle feel to it if you want that. Important tips for this: you don't want to bury the plants with a rhizome because this will kill it, like it will rot and then it will die. So do not do that. And you want to plant heavily at the beginning of your tank because it'll help prevent the algae. And you also want to mix like plant textures. So like for my tank, for my floaters, I did frogbit and duckweed, so it adds a little bit of like spice because you got like the smaller duckweed and like the bigger frogbit, and the frogbit roots are like a lot longer than the duckweed, so it just looks really cool. So when you're filling your tank, you want to put down like a bowl or any kind of buffer that you can use, even like cotton or something like that, on like the ground of your tank. If you can't get any like plates or a bowl or anything like in that, you can pour the water onto a piece of wood, and you just want to make sure that it doesn't stir the substrate in your tank, because if it does, it's going to make it look really dirty, and that's going to be hard on your filter. And when you're doing this, you also want to pour the water slowly, but make sure it doesn't mix. And you also want to expect the tank to look cloudy and bubbly. This is just the oxygen like coming out of like your wood, your substrate, whatever. So after you have your tank filled, it's time for your nitrogen cycle. At the beginning of the cycle, right after you add your water, your tank is gonna have to filter out like the ammonia in your tank, and the bacteria in your tank is also gonna have to like colonize and get bigger, and like that'll help your tank stabilize. When I was doing my tank, I also put like there were little pods of bacteria that I put in there to like help start my tank go faster, the cycle. So after a few weeks, your ammonia will start to filter out. Your bacteria will start to go into nitrates or nitrites. This word is really hard for me to say. But these are toxic to fish, so you still don't want to add your fish here because your fish will die from that. But after like a couple more weeks have passed, like month total, the nitrates will turn into nitrates, which is your good bacteria, and this is safe for fish. It's not gonna hurt your fish. So this is when you can add your fish. But like the first time that you see that it's nitrates, you want to wait a couple days and test it each day to make sure that it stays there, because that means that your tank is stable and ready. And this will happen when your water tests come back with 0 ammonia, 0 nitrates, and 5 to 20 nitrates. And this is when your tank is cycled and your time for fish. Also, I do recommend getting the master test kit if you're going to do this, because it'll last a lot longer and it's way more accurate than little strips. So when you're adding your fish, you want to start with a small group, and you also want to do like the least territorial kind to prevent the aggression, because if you get like a very territorial fish, it will eat the rest of your fish in your tank, so you really don't want to do that. And after you add like a small group of fish, you want to wait a few days to make sure your ammonia doesn't spike, because if it spikes, then that will also kill all your fish. So you just want to relax a little bit before you add more fish. So you can do that in like intervals of like, I did mine like one weekend, and then I'd wait a week, and then I would add fish another weekend. So that's a good interval right there. For acclimation, you want to take your bag of fish, and you're just gonna literally just sit it in the top of your tank, making sure that it doesn't tip over. And you can do this for like 15 to 20 minutes, and this will match the temperature of the bag to your fish tank water. And then after you've waited like 5 to 20 minutes, oh my gosh, 15 to 20 minutes, you can start adding your fish tank water into that bag, and you can do this every 5 minutes. And I usually just use like a shot glass and do like 5 shot glasses into the tank every 5 minutes. for like an hour total. So now you have a fish tank. Here's some photos of my fish tank. I have more if you want me to show you them. Just let me know. I have a lot of videos too. So yeah.